Alright, hello everybody. Here's starting up the second episode of Labyrinth of Touhou. Last time we finished floor 1, but I was noted by someone in the comments that it was a little bit unclear where some of the stuff was because I was jump cutting between different things. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to head to floor number 1, and we're going to visit a couple of places where things were, more or less, and I'll give a little bit of an overview of the map of that level, and then we'll move on to floor number 2. So here's the place where you show up first in level 1. You can see from the map here that we're kind of basically in the center of the level. To our north is a small area. This northern area is where Yomu was. And then we can also head south and then east. So what you'll see is that we can either go to the southwest, where we'll eventually find those treasure chests that I talked about. And we'll just get through this fight really quick. So you can actually see the treasure chests all the way in the upper left corner of the screen here. And if you go southeast, you end up at the area where we found Kogasa and where Parse is still sitting. So we haven't gotten Parse yet. We'll need to figure out what exactly she needs to do that. That's kind of the south half of the map. If you look all the way far in the southwest, that would be all the way to the left on this map. You can see there's a little square missing, and it's going to turn out later on that there's actually some stuff there, but we got to come down from a higher level to get there. So this covers kind of the first half of this level. Now I'll head over to the west and north, and I'll explain that. Okay, so here we're starting to head west. This western direction was where we found these 2 tunnels that helped us kind of get through here quickly. You can see that there's a green exclamation point there that we can't get to yet. We'll have to come down from a higher level. And in order to get to the 2 lower level bosses, the level 3 and level 4 bosses, we had to go west. And then after you go west, you hook north. And after you hook north, that's where we found Rumia, just slightly to the west and south of where we're at right now. And if you continue going north, then you can move over to the east and back south again. And that's how we get to the staircase. So we'll head there now real quick. That's the wrong way. Okay, and so, as you can see, we loop back south, get into a random fight, then after we head south, we hook west for just a little bit, and we're at the stairs to level 2. So, from here, we'll just move forward to this point where we have a relay point, and we'll start exploring level 2. So I'll try to, when I actually find something, or when I decide where to go, I'll try to mention something and have something come up. So right out the gate, we actually have a red exclamation point. So let's check and see what this is. Ah. So this is a blatant Etrian Odyssey reference. They're calling them FOEs, and what FOEs are big orange blobs that show up actually on the map. They're harder enemies than usual, but they also can be exhausted, in the sense that you can take them out and they'll go away for a while. They're not random encounters, and they'll often only chase you over a specified area, so... Alright, so that not only does that give us an explanation about how FOEs work, but that also gets us Juno, our new party member. So that is just directly to the west of the starting point for level 2. If we go here, we'll see that that guy will charge us, but he won't come outside of his particular area. So that's the FOE system. We will head back to town, and then I will come back and continue exploring and put Juno in the party. Alright, we're back at level 2. There are two directions we can go. We can either head south or we can head west. So we're going to head south first and see what's down there. Looks like we'll probably be able to grab a couple of treasure chests or items down that way. So after heading a little bit south and then looping over to the east, we've got our first item on the second floor. It's a sub-equipment, Crepe Mariette. So here we have some new enemies, Ferocious Stumps. They are not actually that ferocious. And I guess we can try out Momiji's Expelle's Canon, see what it does. Hey, it works. So after heading south, here in level 2 for a bit, we're now being forced to hook over into the western direction, so we'll see what's over this way. There actually weren't that many treasure chests over this way. I'm a little surprised. So we're zigzagging like crazy. After being forced to go eastward, we just got basically hooked back south and west. But it looks like we're heading toward a red exclamation point. Over there, you can see it, just to the west. So hopefully we'll hit that next. As expected, here we are. We are mostly south from where we started on level 2. After a little bit of squiggling back and forth. Let's see who we've got here. It is the pure and honest Aya Shamemaru. Or Shamemaru Aya, I guess, in the way that it's supposed to be done technically. But anyway, yeah, we've found Aya again. Question is whether she'll join us now or not. And she's gone. You thought it would be that easy? Alright, we may have reached the southern end of the level, but we're now being pushed in the western direction, so we'll see what's off this way. Oh, we found not exactly a path 2, but, well, maybe there is a path 2. Not quite? No, of course not. Alright, some new enemies. Tree beetles, and a ghosty. Well, it worked pretty well. So, it turns out it wasn't going to be that easy. That boss, that level 6 boss that we saw a few minutes ago, we tried to head south to reach it, but we basically got pushed all the way to the west, and now we're headed north. So we'll see what happens from here. Alright, so in the process of looping around here, we managed to find an item. Energy gem, very nice. It looks like we may be able to head south from here to find our way to that boss. But in general, it's usually a good idea to try to get as many of the items and characters on the floor before you start worrying about bosses, unless something's in your way. So we'll probably explore that area, and I'll show you how to get there, but we won't fight them until later. Ghosties are interesting foes. If you look at them, they're supposedly resistant to physical attacks, but in fact, their defense is quite low compared to their magic defense. So even though they're very weak to this, well, it does a lot of damage, but magic attacks in general, they have good magic resistance. So whereas Momiji's Rabies Bite attack will work on them, this will do very little. So, surprisingly, it's actually not such a bad idea to have physical attacks ready for them. So, we've looped back around. You see that we went a little bit north and then we hooked back south. There's a bunch of areas that we haven't explored fully, but I'm really trying to get toward that item and toward that boss. It looks like we're really close. In fact, there we are. Here's the level 6 boss. As you can see, you head south from where you enter the level, then you hook west, a little bit north, south, and then east again. They do make the paths in this game confusing and serpentine for a reason. That's so you can have more fun fighting random encounters. And exploring, too. Of course, up here we also have an item. The Rose Bush Robe. Very cool. So, it looks like we found something interesting. After coming back away toward the, I guess you would call it the southwest corner of the map, it looks like we may have found a way to this down staircase. In fact, here it is. Let's check it out. So we're back on the first floor with a little tiny bit of thing to explore. And here we go. Red exclamation point. So I don't know whether to commend Misty for her business enthusiasm or to deplore her acumen. She has set up a stall with no food and is trying to attract people with the smell of sauce, and yet she's off here in the corner of nowhere, and she has no food to actually sell and no schedule as to when she'll actually have it. We'll get Misty later. She says she wants eel, and there's an enemy that we'll face later on that will give us what she needs. So now that we're back up on the second floor, you'll notice that the encounter meter resets to 0 whenever you switch floors. This is interesting, and you can kind of use it to your advantage sometimes. If you're exploring near a set of stairs and you don't want to get into fights, you can avoid them that way. We're over here in the southwest corner of level 2. We're going to try to fill in some of the southwest area. You can see all the little pink areas where we haven't quite fully explored. That's where we're headed next. Well, that ferocious ghosty gave us a run for our money. Yeah, there are occasionally going to be enemies that show up that are very resistant to a lot of different things. So, figuring out which characters work best against certain enemies and taking them out quickly is often a part of your strategy, even for the random encounters, which means there can be a lot of formation shuffling going on. As you can see, we've kind of filled out this area toward the southwest, and it was just basically a bunch of random combinations. So now we're going to be hooking back north a little bit, just east from here, and we'll see what's up there. It looks like we've got a green item somewhere nearby. Alright, so I went a little north, and then I went a little bit east, and it looks like we got another red exclamation point, so let's see what we've got here. Spoilers! So here we have another basic little quest. We have to find 3 material items, great tree leaves, and bring them here, and maybe we'll get something related to Minoriko Aki, or who knows, maybe the other Aki sister will show up too. So check this out. After heading further east from where Minoriko's hat was, we've now found a link that links us back to just south of where we entered the level. So hopefully this will save us some time later on. However, as you can see, there's a level 8 boss nearby as well. So we'll be looking forward to that soon. So we're taking a quick break over in the town, but just wanted to point out that we got Fledgling Search Party. I think it's supposed to be Fledgling Search Party. We got a manga meet for winning 50 battles, and then over here we got Gotten Used to It for playing more than 3 hours. It gives us 1,000 money, which is a pretty nice chunk. We note that if we play 10 hours we get 5,000 money, 30 hours we get 30,000 money, 60 hours, and you can actually see over here there's 128, 256, so in theory, the more time you play, the more cash you earn. So, we just hooked around to some of that area that we had neglected to check before, and we found ourselves another red exclamation point. Let's see what we got here. Well, we found a mysterious scrap of iron, number 1. That's, ominous, I guess? So, if you look at where I'm at now, in that same area where I neglected a little bit, right after you have to hook after you go all the way south and hook west, there's a little spot where you can hook back east, and we found an item over here. We got an Oni's Panties ×2. Wonderful. So, along that space at the far south where you have to head west in order to head toward that, the boss, the level 6 boss, there's this little area over here, and I've kind of searched a bunch of the areas around it, and it looks like this might actually lead to somewhere interesting. Unfortunately, it looks like heading up there, all it basically did was loop me back over to earlier in the level. There doesn't... Well, no, there's something over here. Hold on. Alright, so, if you look here, yes, it does loop back to the earlier level, but there is some other areas that it leads to in the middle of this kind of void that you're seeing kind of in the middle of the screen. We just found an item. We got a Crepe Mariette again. Very nice. And then there's just a little bit more to look at over here. Alright, here's the mother lode. First off, we found another relay point. You might be saying, 2 relay points in a single level? Yes, and yes, you want it. It helps reduce the amount of time that we're going to be running around. And we found a path to this level 8 boss over here. Of course, we aren't ready yet to take him on, but at least now we know how to get to him easily and quickly. Jeez. Okay, there we go. Sometimes enemies do unexpectedly large amounts of damage. But anyway, we're just kind of clearing out this little space here on the map. And that kind of handles the southern half of this level. We got a few places where we can head further north. So we'll come back when we get around to one of those. We've uncovered 2 bosses and an additional relay point. So far so good. Alright. After heading north, we kind of looped back up and around, and we got an item here. A light crystal. Not bad. There's also signs of another level 8 boss nearby, so it looks like we're going to have 2 bosses at level 8 this time, which is a little crazy, I think. So yeah, where was he? He's right over there. Do we have a clear path to him? No, of course not. Alright, found an item over here. So, just to show you where it's at, we headed west from where you enter the level the first time, a little north, a little west, and then kind of jinked around, as you can see in that little hooked area. So here we have tracking orbitars, main equipment. Very nice. Looks like we got another item. So as you can see, I continued in that little kind of spirally thing after the previous item. And here we've got an ephemeral bauble. Sounds good to me. So, looking at the map now, you can see that we're close to where we found Minoriko's hat. We kind of looped west and then south, and we found a couple items in that area, but mostly it just got us to this area of the level. You'll notice that directly to our west there's a bunch of empty space, so we'll be exploring there later, I think. But as you can see, all of the little pink spaces that we still have yet to explore are way off to the east, so we're going to keep looking. Alright, one more item. As you can see, we went back and hooked north instead of hooking west after heading a little bit west from the starting point. And we got an item over here. Sub-equipment, Two Faces coin. That's an obvious Batman reference, but we're going to look through those in combination a little later. Kind of all together, just go through a bunch of them. Then we've got another path over here that looks like it's going to lead to one more item. And of course we get into a fight on the way there, but not too bad of a fight. Of course they get us into a fight. We're one step before finding the item, which is Sub-equipment Goriki's Charm. Very cool. Alright, back to exploring. Well, I guess we're filling in that void earlier than I thought. As you can see, I went a little further north and hooked west again, and I got another long area to examine. But we found an item here. Poison resistance ring. Very nice. Alright, so we're gradually filling in this kind of western area, but we found another item. And we got a bludgeon, sub-equipment. Very nice. So this actually looks promising. In the same area where we found some of those items in that kind of area down into the west, we found a path to the north that looks like it leads us to... Yep, there it is. Path to level 3. Now we're not going to be heading there yet because we still have work to do in this level, but it's good to at least find it. It's worth noting that the relay points for this level are not near the stairs. Very interesting. Or, well, for the upstairs. Alright, so we've hooked back over to the north and to the east, and we found it looks like possibly 2 items over here. So we got number 1 here, concept of attributes, material. Then we're probably getting into a fight, but if not, yeah, we'll get into a little quick fight and hopefully we'll survive it. It still does decent damage. Slightly purifying salt. Alright. After that, here we go. We've got a sirloin, sub-equipment. It's not a consumable. Do not consume the sirloin. It looks like we've only got one other place in this level that we can actually look at, though. So we may be finished here until we can... If this dead ends, and it does... Jeez. Yeah, so, aside from the spot where the FOE is waiting, we've now found the path up. We've got 2 bosses to fight. 1 level 6, 1 level 8. We've got the stairs up, and we've got Aki Minoriko's hat, which we'll need some items for. Speaking of which, we can check the number of that right now. Now, we still only have 1 of them, so we'll have to grind some of those later on. But I would say that the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at some of the boss. We're going to aim for that level 6 boss, because I think he's next. So, yeah, I will head back to town, get everybody recovered, do some equipping, and we will be right back to fight that boss. Alright, so here's my current party. We're getting ready to take on that level 6 boss. So here's my current party and our equipment. So we've got... I've been trying to equip percentage stuff on people's strengths and, set number stuff on their weaknesses. So we've got enough equipment that we can kind of get about 3 things on everybody. So, pretty good. But I thought that this would be a nice time to kind of look at some of the items that we've got already, and at least mention them. So, we'll look at the main equipment that we have so far. There's 3 pages worth, and we've only got 4 items so far. We've got the Miko's Board, which increases maximum TP, keeping you in the dungeon longer. We have the Cypress Stick, which increases maximum MP. 3 sounds like a small number, but it's actually pretty good considering how few MP most characters get, and the fact that MP doesn't get increased as you level up. We've got Tracking Orbitars, that increases accuracy. We throw those on Kane. Oops. And then we've got the Manga Meat, which increases HP recovery rate. We threw that on Rumia. Then, looking at our sub-equipment, you notice there are 12 full pages of this stuff. And they do kind of stack per strength for the most part, with some exceptions. But so far, the items that we have are the Life Fragment, the Bracer of Power, Bulletproof Armor, a Cantrip Book, Crepe Mariette, apparently it's a food item, not consumable. We got the Rosebush Robe. See, we've got some references. Apparently they had to tone down the references a little bit from the fan translation for the Steam version to avoid copyright infringement, but we've got a bunch of items here. Rosebush Roast, Stone of Hades, Goriki's Charm. Some of it might be internal to this game. Some of it might be references to other games. It's all good stuff. Then we got Lucky Horseshoe. Well, horseshoes are just lucky. Here we start to have some more references. We got Poison Resistance Ring, speaks for itself. We got Two-Face's Coin. That's a Batman reference, of course. Two-Face is a character who has half of his face damaged by, being stuck in some chemical or something, and he has a coin that he flips, which one face of it is all scratched up to decide what he does. Usually, if the scratched up face lands up, it means that the person he's dealing with is doomed. We got a Bludgeon. This is just Bludgeon created from the trunk of the Great Tree. Light Crystal. Eventually entering the Tower of Illusions to do so, but no matter what, he is fated to become a dark cactus at the end. Poor, strange, dark cactus. This is probably a reference to something. I'll try to look some of these up later. Rye bread. Super hard rye bread. Very stale. Uniform of Exorcism. I don't know, that doesn't seem like it's a reference to anything. Steadfast Ring. A lot of the items have very, little pithy statements, like the quite a shame at the end of this one. The ring system offered lots of customization and collecting fun, but was no longer present in the other titles. Quite a shame. What was the ring system in? There were ring systems in Mana, in the Secret of Mana games. Seiken Densetsu? I don't know. Item that reminds you of a kind prince and a pitiable maiden? I don't know. Sirloin, again, non-consumable meat. Makes your own monsters more loyal to you too. That's probably Gosh. I wonder if that's a reference to, like, Monster Rancher. And that's all we've got so far. So, with these characters equipped as such, and everybody fresh, we're going to head into the dungeon and see if we can take on that level 6 boss. Alright, here we are at the level 6 boss. Now, we don't know what we're in store for, so I'll just kind of leave some space here open for writing. So I'm trying to take some notes, and I'm going to try to use the Wikipedia as little as possible for this. But anyway, let's see what we've got. Well, that wasn't so bad. It was another fight where Chen leads a bunch of enemies to us, but we beat it at the right level, and we got the spoils that we wanted. Ah, that banter. Alright, Chen's gotten away from us twice. Next time we're just going to trip her. That wasn't so bad at all. We took care of that boss without too much trouble. Unfortunately, we didn't get any new characters out of it. But that takes care of this boss down here. I think my next goal is going to be to grind some leaves so that we can get Aki next. That should be possible to do. But what we'll do is I'll level us up to level 8 for here, and from here, and we'll be ready for the next boss soon. I thought it would be nice to look at the bestiary real quick. Since I'm looking for Leaf of Great Trees, I can actually find out who drops what here, and I can aim for those specific enemies, or at least hope to aim for those specific enemies in this game. So let's look here real quick. We got the small Kedama, weak against fire, weak against dark, weak against all ailments. No particular strengths, but it is a flying type. Same story for the larger but regular-sized Kedama. The Nut Eater is weak to fire and physical attacks. Strong against heavy. Lightweight little squirrel bouncing around. Hard to pin him down. Enormous Wasp. Fire, cold, and wind. Very good. Strong against poison. No specific issues with paralysis. Strong against silence. Very strong against silence. Weak to everything else. The Kuro Nut. Now, this is the little guy that drops the Great Trees leaf. So we're going to have to try to fight a bunch of these guys. Maybe the best way to do that is actually on floor number 1, where the rest of the enemies are a little easier, but we'll see. He is weak against fire and cold, strong against nature. Not much going on with ailments for him, although sudden death might be useful. We've got... Oh, these guys drop Great Trees leaves as well, even higher percentages than Kuro Nuts. Fire, cold, and physical. You know, not much going on as far as ailments there, but don't try to use silence on it. Ferocious Stumps, weak to fire, weak to spirit. Strong to dark, strong to nature. As far as ailments go, not much usefulness there, except maybe sudden death. Ghosties, very nice. Weak to fire, weak to spirit. Weak to poison, weak to paralysis, weak to silence. Very interesting. Tree beetle. Let's see. Weak to cold, weak to wind, strong to nature and physical. It's got a hard shell. Don't use poison against it, but almost anything else except paralysis is good. Ferocious ghosties. Weak to fire, weak to spirit. Strong against cold, dark, physical, and nature. They've got a lot of resistances. Look at that. These are the enemies where you really need to have someone who can hit them hard. That would be usually Reimu in this case. 880 hit points is nothing to smirk at either. Let's see, we got the Malignant Eater, which is one of the bosses that we fought down on the first floor. Don't care what he has anymore. And then we've got Chibi Yomu here, who we have also beaten. So good for that, I guess. You'll notice that the bosses have some like percentage chance drops. That means that if you're either going to want to like run the fight over and over again until you get everything, which could be very time consuming, or there's just some things you're only going to get on a chance. Fortunately, the stuff that's at percentages is usually stuff you can get elsewhere, so not that big of a deal. Alright, well that is the bestiary so far. I'm going to continue grinding for tree leaves, and when we get Aki, I'll see you when we get Aki. So I'm still grinding for great tree leaves, but I want to show something off that sometimes is easy to forget about. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to just get into a fight here. And this is a pretty good fight to get into. You're going to notice that all the enemies have levels. Most of them are level 1 or 2 or something along those lines. And if we go up into the next floor, and we fight here, what you're going to see is that enemies, even the same types of enemies here, are going to be stronger on the second floor than on the first floor. So, this is another important thing to watch out for. Enemies will get harder. Even the same enemies will get harder as you climb the tower. And for some reason, the bestiary doesn't really seem to actually do anything about that. So... So you can see in this fight that the small Kedamas are level 6. So watch out for that. Alright, we are here, and we have some leaves, I think. Yep, we have 4 Great Trees leaves. It's funny, I got one, and then I got one in the exact next battle, too. So we're a little over-prepared, but that's alright. In we go! well, that gets us Aki Minoriko. And she has... Well, she's not in the party. But in any case, we'll bring her along next time, and we're going to keep exploring level 2. Right now, all that we really need to do is take out that level 8 boss, and then we can maybe try the FOE, or we can head up to level 3. Maybe we want to head up to level 3. In any case, one more party member added to the group, and yeah, good stuff. Alright, well, I think this is a good time to take a look at the check status ability. There's actually quite a bit of information for every character, so I just wanted to kind of look at this screen real quick and go through it and take a look. So, usual RPG stuff, we've got name, experience, experience needed for next level, class, equipment, status. We've got, hit points, magic points, and TP, which don't usually grow from, well, HP does. We've got MP and TP, which don't grow from level to level. Then we've got the 6 main stats: attack, defense, magic, mind, speed, and evasion. Defense defends against physical attacks, mind defends against magical attacks, etc., etc. We've got our resistances. There are 8 elements to think about: fire, cold, wind, nature, mystic, spirit, darkness, and physical. And then 8, what would you call them? Status ailments to worry about: poison, paralysis, heavy, shock, terror, silence, sudden death, and debuff. And you can see that she has different resistances to all of this stuff. There's also an HP recovery rate and MP recovery rate for when they're in the back ranks. And then over on the right, you can see their status level, which I'm pretty sure is what they've got from the Magic Library, from Patchy's library. But then we can see skill info. This is something we haven't played around with yet. Every level, you get a skill point, and you can put those skill points into different abilities, attacks, and level-based boosts. We won't be doing that quite yet. It's not necessary yet, and we'll want to use those skill points carefully later on. But they're there, and we can definitely do stuff with them. Then, this is the third screen. This tells us what the base value of her stats are, basically at lowest level. It tells us what she gains per level up. You'll notice that she just gains 5 attack points, not much else. So everything else that we want her to gain, we'll have to do ourselves. Then it tells us what we've used gems and jewels on to increase her stats for, as well as battle points, how many fights she's been in, level up bonuses, stock, or maybe that's actually how many enemies she's taken out, and then the stock of skill points and the number of training manuals used. So every character has a different distribution of this stuff, and it can get very, very complicated. But in the end, what you really want to do for any given particular area or fight is you want to watch out, and I'm just kind of switching through these just to show you what there is. There's a lot here. What you're going to want to do is you're going to look around for these before a boss fight or before entering, or right after entering a new area, and try to tune your team to be most effective for what you're going to be facing. But with 12 characters to play with and lots of enemies to fight, there's always more things to play around with. So, yeah, I just wanted to kind of show that off. We'll get into that in more depth when it becomes necessary to do so for a boss fight or something. Until then, we'll just let those things kind of lie where they are. Alright, so here we are. We have leveled everybody up to level 8. We are near the center relay point for level 2. And we've got everybody there. Our average level is 8. And we're going to check out this level 8 boss here. If I remember correctly, this is where things start to get a little bit difficult. So we'll see what happens with our base team here. And, well, we'll see what happens. Alright, we've got Horai-san Kaguya, one of the well-known immortals in the Touhou universe. And this is not going to necessarily be easy. Let's see what we've got here. So once again, skin of our teeth. You'll notice that Kaguya did a bunch of attacks that just hit everybody, and so the way this is going to end up working is that I'll probably do like a first shot on bosses, and just, win or lose, see what happens. We just barely won this time, so far so good. But what's going to happen is probably I'll have to spend more time focusing on team optimization when we get around to it. So far so good. This is actually our completion of level 2, for the most part. So anyway, we managed to win this time. Kaguya is very lazy in Fanon, but less lazy here, so... So, the question is it worth it for us to try to fight the FOE at this point in the game? And so we've cleared out pretty much... Oh wait, there's a red exclamation point over there. You see that? All the way in the west side of the map? That wasn't there before. You know what? Before we do this, we're gonna go check that out. Oh, and there's this level 8, but we can't get to it yet. Alright, so we made our way over to the west side of the level. There's this red exclamation point that wasn't there before. Let's find out what this is. Okay, Aaron makes an appearance. Much nicer attitude than you usually see from her in the comics. So, I was leveling our characters up, and we got an achievement. Reach level 10 on a character, you get 3 life gems. Even that soldier, Cloud, started at level 10. You're listening at Reimu? So, Final Fantasy VII reference, obviously. But, oddly enough, characters starting at non-zero levels, or non-1 levels, is a tradition in Final Fantasy, right? In Final Fantasy IV, or Final Fantasy II here in the US, I think Cecil and Kain started at level 10. If we get to level 30, we get Heroes Medals. And if we get 48 party members, we get a Mr. Midnight oil set. Yeah, if we gather down our 4 foes, defeat 60 foes, yeah, we've got a lot to do. So, anyway, just thought that was neat, little achievement. Alright, I leveled everybody up as much as I could with what we've got, and that puts our average level somewhere around between 11 and 12. Chirno got up to level 13, which is, good for her. So we're going to try out this FOE. We're probably going to get our butts kicked, but there's something to be shown that if that happens as well. So we'll see how close we are to being able to beat this thing. Let's give it a shot. So we got him! FOEs are good because you can level up everybody to the max and just go all out on them. This one was mostly physical attacks with a little bit of terror mixed in there, but we managed to whittle him down with our own physical attacks as well as some magical attacks by Marisa and Reimu mostly. So this worked out pretty well. We kept our defense up, and we got him. That's our first FOE. And of course it leads us somewhere cool. There's this down staircase here, so we'll see what's down here. Looks like we got 2 items here. Let's see what we got. A fairy soul material. Pointless fight with really low enemies, and a special item training manual. Alright. Alright, well that finishes off level 2 for us. We're at the stairs up to level 3, up in the northwest corner of the level. No more red exclamation points that we haven't already checked out. No more FOEs, no more bosses on this level. So we're going to call this episode a wrap, and we are going to head up to the 3rd floor next time. And of course, once again, I was like, oh, I'm done with this episode. But in fact, I'm coming back to the base after this. We got 2 achievements. We defeated 1 foe. We defeated the red one. We got a DX Mecha Monkey model. Gamers want to beat everything even when told it's not needed. And we picked up, collect 20 different materials, booster version 0.8. To make the equipment, you first have to get the materials. So anyway, there we go. See you later. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you're enjoying this. I'm trying to make sure that we don't get too bogged down in game mechanics, but I'm going to try to do a little bit of a look at skills next time, and maybe I'll do a little bit more in-depth look at. Well, so yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll probably look at skills next time. Gonna kind of ease into all the heavy numerical bits of this game. Anyway, thanks again, and I'll see y'all later.